Hey guys, Queenie B back with part 3. I am now going to teach you how I made the lamp. And then we're also going to talk about the shelf. Let's start with the lamp because that's the easiest. I took one base from a Miniverse table. I have lots of these pink ones from the birthday series, so that's just what I chose to use. You can use any color or any other flat base. Then I took a boba straw because it's about that size. It's a little small, but what I do is I fill this entire hole up with hot glue and then stand the boba straw in the middle. You're going to have to hold it for a while because that's a lot of hot glue, so it's going to take a while for that hot glue to dry. But once it's dry, you'll be left with something like this. I use these as doll stands as well, so you can multi-purpose it. So the next thing you're going to do, cut it off to a flat point. Now, for this one, I had this little tea light candle, or tea light that lights up and does multicolors. It came from the Dollar Tree in this pack with a bunch of these little diamonds, or, you know, fake looking diamonds. So I don't have another one of those, unfortunately, and the medicine cup fits on top of it just perfect for the shade, but it doesn't fit on a regular tea light. The regular tea lights are just too big. So for this purpose, I will use this light to show you how the light travels through the straw, but ultimately this is the light that I had to use because that's what fits. And it's hard to see, and I still don't think I'll be able to show you right this second, but I will show you in a darker area how the light travels all the way through the straw. It's really cool. All right. Whoa! Hold on to your seats, folks. I almost dropped you. All right. So the next thing I did after I get to this stage, I wanted it to have some weight. So I took UV resin and completely filled this up with a nice even layer. From there, I took some black pebbles just because most of my furniture was going to be black, so I decided to use the black, and I dumped them all in. I coated them in some resin and I UV cured it under my lamp. And once I did, I had a nice weighted light. Ooh, you can almost see the color down at the bottom there. Anyway, I'll show you guys for sure. So after it cured, like I said, it's nice and weighted. I went ahead and glued the light into the straw with the light bulb facing down. And it's a twist. So I can turn it off, turn it back on. And that's why I made the shade just to sit right on top. Because I want to be able to get to the light itself, access it, turn it on and off. For the shade, I just used a little medicine cup. I sanded it down and then I coated it in chalk paint just because chalk paint gives you a easy base and it covers really well as opposed to acrylic that can get a little streaky. So coated it, and then I took a little bit of this beaded ribbon that I got at the dollar store. I cut it down to one row, I painted them gold, and then added them to the light all the way around. One of them fell off and it's not very golden, so I need to fix that, but that's in the back anyway, so worry about that later. Either way, once you do that, you have a light and it's pretty awesome. Here, let me see if I can. Yeah, that's better. Now you can really see the light, how it travels all the way through the straw. And it does give off light, like it reflects pretty well, considering. So there is our first project, and it was quite fast and quite easy. I hope you guys like that. All right. And the lights are back on. So now that that's done, you now know how to build the floor lamp, and you can build it taller. You can change anything about it. It's just the base. And I know my shade's a little crooked, but the shade fits on there really nicely. Usually it sits pretty straight. It's a nice little lamp. All right, let's get to the creme de la creme. The big project that we're going to look at. This shelf. I say big project, but it's really not that hard, and it's actually pretty quick. So let me just tell you how I did it. I'm not going to rebuild it, but for purposes, I have a couple pieces of foam board so we can kind of talk about it if we need to. All right, so for the shelf, for the outside square, I cut 4 9 by 2 1/4 long pieces. I attached one side, the bottom and the top, but I left one side off. And I'll flip it over and show you why. So then I only had this piece, this piece, and this piece. I then measured 2 inches, drew a line on the inside, and that's where I glued my shelves. And they're a little wonky, but that's okay. So after I did that, I glued them in, slapped the other side on, and now we have it encased. These are 2 by 2 squares that I cut. And because I had measured them for 2 inches, I knew I wanted them to be about 2 inches wide. I literally didn't glue them in. I just slid them in because they're nice and tight. But then the front, I trimmed it out with gold poster board. And when I did that, I ran glue across every piece. So all of these are attached by the front. Everything is attached to the gold foam board. So if I want to move it around eventually, I can. I'm sorry, not gold foam board, gold poster board. So that way, eventually, if I want to change it out, I can. It can go either way. I personally have it going this way right now, but if I wanted to trim out the bottom, I could make this the top. Either way, pretty simple projects, but they have a big impact. And filling up these shelves was a lot of fun. I used a lot of Miniverse products. I had some small animals laying around, so I put a couple cows in there because I'm obsessed with cows. But make it your own and have some fun. The gold craft paper is completely optional, but if you don't do it, just know you're going to end up with these kinds of foamy looking marks, and they're not so pretty. Looks much better when you trim it out. All right, guys. Happy crafting. See you in the next one.